Happy Tuesday, everybody. Good morning. And while you're pouring in, since we're on a LinkedIn workshop, we'd be someday we'll be back live, Craig. So right when we're live, we'll be handing out business cards. Until that time, drop your LinkedIn profile in the chat box. Great opportunity to connect with some great folks. So use that chat box all you want.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. So good morning and welcome everyone. My name is Craig Zamry. I'm a business consultant here at the SBDC at YSU, and we're thrilled to kick off today's session, which is part one of a two-part series. Today is on LinkedIn for Business. This will be an exciting session, and the purpose is really to help you learn how to optimize your business presence on LinkedIn. This is a high-impact webinar which will explain what your company can do to stand out as a solution provider. So before I introduce our guest speaker today, we'd like to provide just a quick outline of today's session. Curt Anderson will begin with a presentation, and then we'll take a brief strategic pause halfway through for a halftime show and open it up for Q&A. My teammate, Jenna Binsley, will be monitoring the chat and the Q&A, so please drop any questions or comments in there. Jenna will get those to our guest speaker. And then in the end, we'll go ahead and wrap up with one final Q&A after Curt finishes his presentation. So with that, let's begin. We're very excited to welcome Curt Anderson, who founded an e-commerce company in 1995 and was ranked 3 times on the Internet Retailer Magazine's top 1,000 e-commerce companies. Since selling that company, Curt has served as an e-commerce consultant targeting manufacturers, including spending 4 years at the New York Small Business Development Center. Curt is the author of Stop Being the Best Kept Secret and founder of B2BTail.com, an e-commerce resource guide for manufacturers. So with that, at this time, Curt, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Well, Craig, thank you. What an absolute honor. Jenna, appreciate you, appreciate everything. Big shout out to the team at the Youngstown State Small Business Development Center. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I know you're super busy, so let's just jump right into our program. So guys, if you're new to the Small Business Development Center, SBDC, man, it is very close to my heart. I'm flying my colors. I don't know if you see my little jacket here. I got my SBDC windbreaker on. Can you see that, Jenna? There it is right there. So guys, the Small Business Development Center, they are anywhere, everywhere. They are there for your services. They are one of my favorite words we're going to talk about today. They are completely free and totally confidential. They provide a wealth of resources to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. You look here on the map, if you're coming outside of the Youngstown area, they are all over Ohio. If you're coming outside of Ohio, they're everywhere in all 50 states. So guys, check out the Small Business Development Center. Again, a big thank you to Director Patricia and Jenna and Craig. So guys, welcome to Youngstown. Youngstown is an amazing community, rich in history, tons of entrepreneurial success stories we're going to talk about. Great football, by the way, but we'll get into that a little bit later as well. So, but most importantly, I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to you. As entrepreneurs, you are the heroes of our economy, working relentlessly, whether you've been at it for 30 days or 30 years. It is tiring, it is exhausting, but entrepreneurship is just so rewarding. And again, another shout out to my friends at the SBDC. They're there to help you with your entrepreneurial journey. So a couple questions for you to kick off the program. Are you maximizing business opportunities waiting for you on LinkedIn? Second, does your LinkedIn profile truly represent the best you? Well, by the end of today, it certainly will. So our goal is we want to turn each and every single one of us into LinkedIn superheroes. And again, what's one of my favorite words? LinkedIn is, Jenna, free. So it doesn't cost you a penny. You have nothing to lose. Let's take a look at what's going on with LinkedIn. Now, again, guys, boy, this little pandemic thing, I don't know about you, but this thing's been a little odd this past year and a half, but hopefully we're putting it behind us. If we were in person, we'd be shaking hands, handing out business cards. Today, since we're virtual, I encourage you, invite you, drop your LinkedIn profile in the chat box. This is a great opportunity. I think last I saw, we had like 40 people. You got 40 new BFFs on the call here, and we could all connect and raise our count. So I encourage you, drop your LinkedIn and let's start connecting. So just for a shameless little plug, as Craig mentioned, I wrote this little book. It's called Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. Now, let me just share with you a couple things about this book. This book is an absolute bestseller, Jenna, in the Anderson family. Trust me, my mother bought a couple of copies, my father, my sister, my wife. But anyway, so besides that, it's this great book. And it's the reason I titled the book Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. I work with manufacturers. And for years, these manufacturers, I would say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Manufacturer, tell me about your business. They're like, oh, we're the best kept secret. We're the best kept secret. I'm like, man, I don't know if that's a great marketing strategy. So I think we need to stop being the best kept secret. So now with that, I also offer a free webinar every single Friday, man. If I'm hoping you're going to have as much fun today as I am. We offer a great fun webinar every Friday, 1:32 Eastern time, called Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. We are manufacturing e-commerce success for our clients. So here's my profile. Again, drop your profile in the chat box. This is who's this crazy guy coming at you today. I'm over a couple states over in Lakewood, New York. I'm an e-commerce evangelist for manufacturers, author of Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. I do all sorts of fun webinars. My most important job on the planet, I'm a girl dad. Yep, she's won my heart. And so that's the most important thing in my life. But also, check this thing out over here. What's this? Ohio State University. He went to Ohio State University. So Jenna, Craig, could I get a OH? How about an IO just for Curt? So anyway, OHIO to my friends in Ohio, great state of Ohio. It's such an honor and privilege to be here. Now, guys, I played a sport at Ohio State 100 years ago. I think it was like 105 years ago or so, Jenna, give or take. And I was horrible. I was a horrible athlete, but I was on a team at Ohio State, and our coach would always say to us, come on, guys, this ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around. If you know the name of the band that sang that song, drop that in the chat box. I might have a little prize for you at the end. But anyway, that's our goal today. Is LinkedIn means business. We're not goofing around. So what we've done is Craig and Jenna, they sent me the roster of every single person on the call today. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up every person's profile one by one, and we're going to check it out. We're going to scrutinize it. I'm just kidding. They did not send me the list. I don't know who's on the call today. Just kidding, Craig. So now, how did that make you feel when you thought, oh my goodness, this crazy dude's going to pull up my profile in front of everybody? Well, think about this. If your ideal customer, that dream client, they're at a Fortune 500 company, maybe they're just at another company, maybe they're just down the road, but they're sitting at their computer, they're sitting in a conference room, and they're deciding it's a big job, it's a big gig, and they're deciding who to go with, and they pull up your LinkedIn profile. Are you ready? If you felt a little bit nervous here when I just did that, we have work to do. If you felt, yeah, bring it on, then you're crushing it. So our goal is, how can we be prepared? And we want you to show off your LinkedIn superpowers today. So let's dig in, since we're all unstoppable. So guys, what we want to think about on your LinkedIn profile. So this is, we're the Small Business Development Center. So I'm going to make a big assumption. We are all entrepreneurs. We're trying to drive business. If this was a workshop for resumes or job seekers, that's not my thing. We're all entrepreneurs. We need customers. So what we want to do for your LinkedIn profile is look at your LinkedIn profile through the buyer's journey, meaning the eyes of that ideal dream buyer. What do they see when they land on your LinkedIn profile? Because here's the big thing, we always hear, oh, it's B2B or B2C. Well, you know what? It's human to human. People do business with people. So where are your humans hanging out that you do business with? And what I want you to think about on your LinkedIn profile, basically, it's almost like it's a matchmaker, right? It's like a dating site almost. It's like we provide a service. We have a product that we sell. We want to attract our ideal customers. I like to refer to those ideal customers as our soulmates. So on your LinkedIn profile, on your website, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. We'll get into that later. How do we put date traits that attract our soulmates on our LinkedIn profile? One of the first places that we start when we're working with our clients, with our manufacturers, we need to go through that persona, that buyer persona. And so many folks just kind of, if this isn't your thing, there's no reason that you would have done this in the past. So what we do is we take our clients through the buyer persona. let me introduce you to Monica Ventez. Monica Ventez is it's a semi-fictional character of an ideal buyer. This is one of my clients. Let's learn about Monica. Monica's in her mid to late 30s. She has 15 years of professional experience. She's a mom of 2. She's married. She hangs out right here. Monica is on LinkedIn. She is deeply engaged on LinkedIn. So if I have a business that would resonate or connect with Monica, where do I need to be? On LinkedIn. So maybe if your folks are on Facebook, if your folks are on Instagram, whatever, when you diagnose that person and understand clearly who that persona is, who that soulmate is, it just makes life so much easier because now we know where we have a better idea of where they're hanging out and how to connect with them. And here's a sweet spot. We want to create that know, like, and trust, right? And in my humble opinion, I've been on LinkedIn for a long time, 2007. There is no means that is more efficient, more effective, more powerful than LinkedIn. This is how I make a living, is hanging out on LinkedIn. Let me just show you a couple of examples. So, little social proof. So I work with manufacturers. We do LinkedIn workshops. We do e-commerce training. Here's a little testimonial. Curt, I want to share the great LinkedIn news of the day. So-and-so received his first lead. We have a great meeting. Thank you for this training, so on and so forth. I work with another team down in Miami. It's a group of millennials. Man, I love working with these guys. I'm Uncle Curt to them. Just this past Monday, I get a note, Uncle Curt, you're right, LinkedIn works. And she received this great lead from a university looking for the products that they sell. So again, with LinkedIn, if you're not on LinkedIn, it's just we miss these great opportunities. So question for you, does your LinkedIn profile provide enough information to help your soulmate trust you, let alone part with their hard-earned money to buy from you? And how about this one? Would you buy from you on LinkedIn? So what we want to talk about, we're going to start with a profile. We're going to work our way down. I like to call it, how do we make that great first impression? I call it webpression. So how do we make that great webpression wow factor, be that scroll stopper with your LinkedIn profile? Let's take a look. Let me introduce you to my dear friend, Wesleyan Greer. Take a look at her banner, great banner. She's a chemist, converted to an international sales manager, now a sales coach. I teach STEM companies to build killer sales teams. Build killer sales teams that hit monthly quota. Former chemist who coaches your sales managers to develop actionable sales process. She does STEM with science, technology, engineering, and she skips math, manufacturing. Girl, a woman after my own heart. We are super close. We're working on numerous projects together. Wesleyan is amazing, and her and I are connected strictly through and thanks to LinkedIn. Here's another one I want to share with you. David Breyer. So again, take a look at the top banner here. Ready to go from nada to Prada. David Breyer is brilliant with branding. Damon John, that's a dude from Shark Tank, man. He has a nice little testimonial right there. Check out his headline. Google's #1 branding expert, slayer of the mundane, liberator of awesome. How cool is that? He wrote a book. My daughter and I read his book together. And if I could see a show of hands, how many of us out there are liberators of awesome? I know everybody at the SBDC is a liberator of awesome. I know each and every single one of you are liberators of awesome. Are we expressing that and displaying that on our LinkedIn profile? Let's take a look at another one of my good friends. This is Ron Higgs. Ron is a great guy, man of integrity. He's up in Seattle. And let's take a look at he is COO, director, consultant. And over here, he was in the U.S. Naval Academy. God bless him. He served our country proud. Big shout out and thank you to anyone of our veterans, anybody that served our country on the call today. Take a look at Ron's banner up here at the top. He's got this cool fighter jet. Well, he was in the Navy, so it says Navy, but sneak over here. You see that arrow up there, Jenna? See that, Craig? That arrow? That's Ron flying the fighter jet. How cool is that? Now, again, if we were on person, we were at a networking event through the SBDC or the local Chamber of Commerce, we'd be shaking hands. That would be great to know about Ron, that Ron used to fly fighter jets in the Navy. God bless them. So again, think about what you want to put in your banner. How can you be that scroll stopper with your headline? And what do you want to put throughout your LinkedIn profile? Because you, my friend, have greatness within you. So let's keep moving forward. So now We're talking about that ideal dream buyer. We're not looking for jobs. We are looking for business. LinkedIn means business. So again, what are things that we want to say on our website? Because or on our LinkedIn profile, because what's so important? Who cares about us? I found out when I was with the SBDC, you know what? Nobody cares about me. Nobody cares about my past other than if I can help them right now. If there's something that's come in my journey, in my toolbox, something that I've carried along from my past that can help my clients through the SBDC today, man, that's awesome. But other than that, they care about themselves. So, and that's all our clients care about. So let me just share with you another example and we'll dig into this. This is my dear friend, my BFF. This is Allison DeFord. Take a look at this profile. Look at her banner. Everything on her website, all of her literature, anything in her email, all of her blog posts, everything that she puts out is extremely consistent. She is a branding expert for manufacturers. So here's her logo. You see, it's got like a real kind of an industrial feel to it. And Allison taught me a couple things that I think are absolutely brilliant. I'm going to share along with you. Jenna, I don't know if you have one of those people in your life where, like, if you read their posts, a Facebook post, you know, you can't have anything in your mouth. You can't drink anything because it's going to end up on your keyboard because they're just so funny, just so hysterical. That's my dear friend, Allison. Never drink anything when you're reading something from Allison. Let me tell you why. Allison introduced me to what's called the wee-wee syndrome. I can't tell you how many manufacturers suffer from the wee-wee syndrome. What is the wee-wee syndrome? Let's explore. If you go to a website, you go to somebody's LinkedIn profile and they say something like this: we are on time. We are top quality. We have wonderful expertise. We have amazing capabilities. We are the best. Just ask us. So we're so focused on our capabilities, what we do, as opposed to our client, our soulmate, and how we can help solve their problem. So how do we conquer the wee-wee syndrome? Does anybody remember this movie? Craig, do you remember this? This is way before your time, Jenna, but this was a great movie. This was Groundhog's Day. And there was an annoying salesman over here, Ned Ryerson. He would always come up to Bill Murray. We don't want to be that annoying salesperson at the chamber event or that networking event where you kind of cringe. You're like, oh no, here comes Ned Ryerson. Here comes Curt Anderson, whatever. So we don't want to do that on LinkedIn. Okay. What we want to do, what my BFF, what Allison preaches, teaches, is how do we make our customer, our ideal client, that soulmate, the hero of our story. The more we dedicate to other success, man, that rising tide, rising ships thing, that's going to drive our own success. So what is the number one favorite word to every human being on the planet, Jenna? It's their name, right? It's music to their ears. They love hearing their name. Who doesn't love hearing their name, Craig, right? Everybody out there today, David, I saw you. Maggie, I saw you. You know, think about your favorite word is our name, right? So on our LinkedIn profile, how can we make it all about them? And how can we use that word you? I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. That's how we build that trust. That's how we drive integrity, sincerity, reliability. We want to be, you know what, guys, for me, I hate to sell. I am a horrible salesman. I love to teach. I'm extremely passionate about this. So think about, you have an expertise that you possess. How can you be the person, the go-to expert to help inform, educate? How can you help them solve their problem? I don't care what service you provide. How can you be that expert out there? Let me show you a couple of great examples. This was a client of mine when I was with the SBDC. This was a long time ago. Jenna, you were still probably in junior high back then. But anyway, this was 2014. And I love what this client did so much. Even 7 years later, I'm still using this example. So let's take a look. I'm going to introduce you to my friend, Barb Berry. You take a look at her about section. Let's take a look at what she says. She has a company, it's called Ulrich, and they do heavy duty metal fabricated filing cabinets for like massive drawings that need to go vertically, not horizontally. Okay. Doesn't matter, but let's take a look here. Ulrich has been in the business of large document storage since 1915, and that expertise has only grown with each generation. You can make one call today and have access to nearly 100 years of large document storage expertise, leaving you time to focus on your business. Now look what Barberi did in 2 sentences. Tomorrow, we have a great program tomorrow on e-commerce. One of our sections, we're going to talk about dominate search. And in that, we're going to talk about those keyword strategies. Look what Barberi did in 2 sentences. She used her keywords in her first 2 sentences, large document storage. Now, since 1915, if you've been in business for 100 years, I'd say you've earned the right to say we have expertise, absolutely. But most importantly, look what she did here. She's concerned about you. She's leaving you time to focus on your business. Let's continue. Companies like NASA, Boeing, Pfizer, Hormel, Siemens have all trusted, another one of my favorite words, Ulrich vertical filing cabinets to preserve their engineering drawing files. These engineering drawing files include our country's first rockets into space. Are you kidding me? How cool is that? Do you want to do business with Barberi? Absolutely. She never uses the word I. She doesn't talk about we. She's worried about you. Let me give you one more example. Dear friend of mine, he's just up the road from you guys. He's over in Akron. Let's take a look. Look at the banner. I love this banner. And they are an e-commerce team of about 70 strong. And when you look at the folks on their team, all of them are using a similar type banner. So they're branding themselves as that company at OtterBox. They are web design, e-commerce, SEO experts. Let's take a look at my friend Daniel. Passionate about helping e-commerce businesses crush their competition. Man, how, like, in one sentence, he just summed up, I know exactly what he does. Helping e-commerce companies crush their goals is what gets me up in the morning. Align clients with e-commerce and SEO experts makes the hard work rewarding. I bring passion to the table every day. Down here, he says, if I don't have the answer, I know I'll find someone who does. And again, what did Daniel do here? He made it all about you and talked about his expertise. So on any of these folks, if you're looking for, let's say, I don't know, accounting help, if you're looking for HR assistance, Daniel's not your guy, but boy, you need e-commerce. Man, he just really nailed it here. Okay. So again, what I encourage you to think about in that headline, in that banner, in the about section, let's make it all about them. Okay. We're working our way down the profile. So we've talked about the banner, the headline, the about section. Let's talk about referrals. Referrals are a great way for social proof. But now notice what the screen says. How about give referrals, not get referrals? Let's see what I'm talking about. Okay. Here's my profile. You take a look here. I've been on LinkedIn since 2007. I can't do the math. What's that? Like 25, 30 years, Jenna, something like that. But it's been, I've had 13 recommendations. Boy, God bless these people. That is absolutely wonderful. I'm a little bit of a slacker if I'm only getting 1 or 2 a year. However, look at this other number, 37. I've given 37. You know what I'm completely embarrassed about? That number should say 137. If I made it a point to give out a referral once a month, a couple a month, just look what that random act of kindness does. Let me give you a couple of examples. So here's a gentleman. I went on his profile and this is what I typed. Inspirational, passionate, charming, witty, endearing, funny, and thought-provoking. These are just a few words that describe my friend. He represents and exudes integrity, so on and so forth. Let's go down to the next person. It is truly a privilege collaborating with Damon. He exudes deep passion and a contagious enthusiasm. Damon is a selfless leader as well as a conduit to bridging relationships. They weren't expecting it. This was just, give value first with no expectation. What did I get in response? Check this out. Curt, you literally drew me to tears, my friend. Honestly, no one, I repeat, no one has said so many positive things in one go to date. I could feel you meant every word that you wrote. Down here, Damon says, Curt, this is an unexpected, much appreciated surprise. Thank you so much. I am touched. I am blessed. So just think, it's been a little bit of a goofy year, the past 18 months or whatever it's been. Just think if you had a friend, a coach, a mentor, a teacher, a colleague, a coworker, somebody that's really meant a lot to you, maybe a new customer, maybe a prospect, and you just took 5 minutes of your life, 10 minutes, and typed some really nice words. Just think what that would do for your relationship. And would that help drive business? Absolutely. We are here to help each other achieve each other's goals. Okay. And again, LinkedIn means business. And guys, this is how we drive those opportunities over the computer, whether it's e-commerce, digital, social media, or here on LinkedIn. Okay. So kind of wrap up this section, what I want you to think about is we call it that web impression. How do you make that great first web impression, that wow factor? Are you speaking the right language to the right buyer or that right soulmate on your LinkedIn profile? Are you clear and concise? Do you tell exactly what you do, the problem you solve, what you serve in the economy or to the market or to that person on your LinkedIn profile? And of course, we want to avoid too much I are on your website. So guys, we're at a little halftime show. We're here at Youngstown State. I don't know if you guys know this, like Youngstown State is a powerhouse football team, multiple national championships. So also I want to give a huge shout out. If you came in late, we are with the Youngstown State University Small Business Development Center. They are rock stars. Services are completely free and confidential. You want to check them out. If you're outside of the Youngstown area, they are everywhere. So contact your local SBDC. Jenna, do you have any questions in the chat box right now?
Currently, we do not, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A section, and we'll be sure to get them to Curt.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. So guys, what we did is we broke down the profile going through headline, banner, about section, so on and so forth. Okay. What we're going to do next is we're going to move forward on how do you make connections. Now, before I do that, I want to give one more shout out to my friends at the SBDC. So now guys at the Ohio SBDC, they have tons of success stories. Check out you can go to their website, check out all these videos. So my question to you, if you want to put it in the chat box, raise your hand. Who's the next entrepreneurial success story? So here's a little trivia. Jenna, Craig, you guys are from Youngstown area. Who's one of the greatest entrepreneurs, at least in my opinion, from Youngstown? Do you know who that might be? Craig, Jenna, do you know who that might be? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Have you ever, I know I did dozens of times, guys, and I won't believe you if you don't raise your hand. You were sprinting down the street when you heard music coming out of a vehicle, and it was the Good Humor Man, and the Good Humor Man is from the great city of Youngstown, Ohio. So Craig, I know I'm picturing 8-year-old Craig sprinting down after the ice cream Good Humor Man over and over. I certainly did. What great memories. And we can give thanks to Youngstown, Ohio for providing us with great ice cream all these years. So big shout out there. So again, we want you to be the next great entrepreneurial success story. So guys, tomorrow, if you're having as much fun as I am and you want to get in e-commerce, we have a great workshop tomorrow on e-commerce. We're going to go through some fun, exciting things. So join us tomorrow, 24 hours from now. I couldn't sleep last night. I'm probably not going to sleep again tonight. So guys, what we want to talk about here is we talked about building out your profile. Now you are rocking it. You are a LinkedIn superhero. You are ready to put yourself out there. We need to get off the sideline and start making connections. It's time to pour it on. Another trivia question coming up. Jenna, you sitting down for this one? You ready? You ready? Not yet. Okay, again, this ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around. Here's my trivia question for all of you guys coming out that want to get your LinkedIn superpower. You had me at hello. Now, this movie came out before your time, Jenna. This was a great romantic comedy from the 90s. Does anybody know this movie? Drop it in the chat box if you know this movie. So you had me at hello. Jerry Maguire, great movie. Craig, I know you know this movie. So what we want to talk about is getting out there and making connections, and how can you have someone at hello? Okay, let's run through a couple examples. So I sent a note on August 13th. So obviously that was last year. And I just said very simply, hey, fantastic profile. You've built an extremely impressive career. Well done. It'd be great to join your LinkedIn network. That was at 12:58. At 12:59, a note comes back. Thank you. Interesting work you're doing as well. Out of curiosity, what's the scale and size of your typical manufacturer? Here's the irony. This woman works for what's called the MEP, Manufacturing Extension Partnership. They are very similar to the SBDCs, except they target manufacturers. They're in all 50 states. I'm sure the guys at the SBDC might work closely with your local MEP. They are an incredible, amazing, wonderful resource for manufacturers. They are a great resource for me. They are my soulmate. I'm going to get into it in a minute. Here's the irony. This particular woman went to Miami of Ohio, Miami University down in Oxford, Ohio. And guess what? A week later, I was doing an e-commerce workshop for the SBDC at Miami University. So what did I do? I said, hey, by the way, pure coincidence, I'm doing a workshop at your alma mater. And she came back, we got on a phone call, we had a wonderful conversation. And sure enough, we did a great workshop for the MEP in Ohio, and that's called SIFT. Okay. Let me give you another example. This is another one of my BFFs. Man, I worship the ground she walks on. This is Dr. Alyssa Rodriguez. She's up in Alaska. She works for, she's the director of the MEP in Alaska. Same thing. I dropped her a note here at 1:35. Hey, Dr. Alyssa, fantastic profile. You've built an impressive career. MEP centers play a critical role for American manufacturers. Well done. She comes back 10 minutes later. Hey, thanks for the connection. I'd like to hear more about how you've worked with manufacturers. We're working on creating a webinar series. I'm curious if you might be a good fit. And sure enough, we are working together. I was on a phone call with her last night. We're working on a huge major project with her. And it was all because I just simply dropped a little note to her on LinkedIn. So now let me ask you a question. If I drop a note to my friend in Toledo and it's an email, would we have had a connection? If I drop a note to my friend in Alaska, would we had a connection if I just sent an email? There's no way that they would know anything about me. But when they see my profile and they come on here and say, hey, man, this guy does this, he does webinars, everything is tailored on my profile about e-commerce, LinkedIn, manufacturers. And so it's a great fit for the MEPs or SBDCs. So one thing that I'd like to share with you guys, we could say it together. Well, I'll run through it first. We grew up always hearing it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know. With LinkedIn, we're going to take it one step further. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's what you know about who you know. Okay. So again, think of someone that has a problem and they would love to find you and learn and have your expertise to help them solve the problem that they're facing right now, but you're the best kept secret. That's why it's so critical to have that information on your LinkedIn profile. In the same regard, I don't know about you, nobody knocks on my door offering to give me business or give money away. We have to get on the offensive. We need to get out there and knock on doors. Let me give you another example. So this is the director of the Temple University Small Business Development Center. She is absolutely hysterical. She is snarky. In her headline, she called herself a heuristic heckler. Who would call themselves that, right? Absolutely hysterical. So I send her a note. I go, hey, Maura, thanks for accepting my invite. Deeply appreciate it. Since you are a heuristic heckler, I can't even say it. I'm a glutton for punishment. Would you be interested in a webinar for your clients? I'm conducting e-commerce training sessions around New York and Bronx, Brooklyn, Buffalo, Rochester. Here's one of my examples. What do you think? And sure enough, as we speak, somebody on my team is giving one at Temple University right this very minute, right here on June 22nd. This was a 10-part e-commerce webinar series that we started back in April. And again, this came out just purely because we made a connection on LinkedIn, moved it to a phone call, created a nice, wonderful relationship. And this has turned into a significant project for my team that I work with on doing training for e-commerce for manufacturers. So guys, what I want to introduce, or the seed I want to plant with you right now is we're talking about how do you resonate, how do you connect with that ideal buyer, that soulmate, okay? Let's take it one step further. So now that we've identified and we've gone through that persona exercise that we've created, like we really have a good idea, good scope on who that ideal buyer is, how can we create multiple buyers? Now, God bless Jenna and Craig today. We connected through LinkedIn and had this wonderful conversation. And I'm so honored and blessed to be here with you guys today. Now, by me connecting with a small business development center, they just pulled in, I don't know how many are on the call, 50 plus. There is no way on God's green planet that I could have found all of you today on my own. So by connecting with the great people at the Small Business Development Center, or for myself, connecting with manufacturing extension partnerships, what it does, it opens up the door to 5, 10, 20, today, 50 of my potential soulmates. So now what I encourage you, welcome you, invite you to think about, who are your soulmates and what organizations, what groups, what agencies, what peeps could help you open a door to 5 of your ideal customers, 10, 20, 50, right? It is so much easier if there's a trade group, a trade association, a networking group, chamber of commerce, whatever it might be, where your folks are hanging out, because now we have a real clear, concise understanding of who that ideal buyer is. And again, let's be efficient with our time. We all have the same 24 hours a day. It would have taken me years to find all of you guys. My big thanks and heartfelt thanks to Jenna and Craig. They brought our lives together today by having this, and I'm having so much fun. So thank you, Jenna and Craig. I appreciate it. So again, think about the folks, the agencies that can open up clusters of your soulmates. I'm going to run one more example. Curt, I watched your webinar. Could we offer this sometime in Nebraska? So this was University of Nebraska. And Jenna, even though I went to Ohio State, they let me do it. I was shocked. I was like, they might not let this guy, but they did. So it was great. So anyway, so again, go through that process of finding those folks and put yourself out there. Put out that invitation. And if you notice what I'm doing, I try to never be salesy. I'm a horrible salesperson, but boy, I love to teach, very passionate about training, educating. Let me give you one more example here. I know I said that last time, but this guy was interesting. This gentleman, I sent him a note and he comes back 1 minute later. Hey, Curt, I'd like to hear about your services. Now look what he did. A few weeks later, he comes back, he goes, hey, Curt, and this guy's up in Seattle. And he goes, Curt, I have a project that I want to run by you. Look what he did. He sent me his calendar link. Think about how can we make the lives of our ideal customers, those soulmates, how can we make it easier for them to do business with us? What Joseph did here, dear buddy of mine, he did this project, he sent me his calendar link. I didn't have to go back and forth like, hey, are you available Tuesday at 9? How about Thursday at 2? So on and so forth. So make it as easy as possible to do business with you. Now, guys, I covered, those are my hits. Okay. That was, and you're like, gee, Curt, good for you. That's awesome, Mr. LinkedIn. I get it. Trust me, if you knew, I don't know if you guys, this is way before your time. This is a gentleman who's a Hall of Fame baseball player. His name is Reggie Jackson. He has struck out more times than anybody in the major leagues. For any of the Cleveland Indian fans out there, Jim Thome, he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's number 2 on the list. But they made it to the Hall of Fame, even though they went up to the plate and struck out thousands of times. So if I was here showing you all the times I've struck out, we'd be here all day. I'm just showing you my hits. Here's a couple home runs, because really this program is all about who? You. It's all about you. So let me show you another example. This is a woman. Her name is Kara Golden. Kara Golden is a Wall Street Journal bestselling author. She's also the founder and CEO of a bottled water company called Hint. Hint Water. My family, we are Hintaholics. My Hint is usually sitting here next to me, but we are Hintaholics. It is great. It is water that is just flavored with all sorts of different fruit flavors: strawberry, kiwi, blackberry, watermelon, you name it. It is so refreshing, no calories, just true pure water. And here it is, Hint Water. Okay, maybe some of you guys enjoy Hint like I do. Well, I caught Kara Golden on this podcast, man, and I was blown away on how impressive she was. So what do? I go to her LinkedIn profile. Check this out. She's nearly 222,000 followers on LinkedIn. I'm like, you know what? What do I got to lose? I'm going to drop Kara a note and just tell her how impressed I was on that podcast. And here's what I did. Hey, Kara, Happy New Year. Just listened to your fantastic interview on the Entrepreneur on Fire podcast. Well done. You have an amazing success story, so I immediately purchased your book. Can't wait to dig in. Wishing you an incredible New Year. I didn't expect to ever hear a word back. She sent a note right back to me. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I sent a note back to her. She sent another note back to me. I'm like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I asked her I offer a free webinar every single Friday. I'm like, what do I have to lose? She is crushing it on e-commerce. She's a manufacturer. She's everything that I'm preaching on our webinar series. I said, hey, would you be interested in joining us? She comes back, let's do it. Awesome. You just made my week. And here she was. This was back in April. She was a guest on our program, and it was just, I can't speak high enough about it. She was absolutely amazing. We have a live audience every week. They were blown away. And check this out. We start at 1:32. We go for 30 minutes tops. Check this out. She was in a hotel in Hawaii, so the lighting was bad. Look at the time here. She went for almost an hour and a half. So our 30-minute program went nearly an hour and a half with Kara Golden, and she was absolutely amazing. Now, For those of you looking for inspiration, you need to look no further than Allison Levine. Allison Levine wrote the New York Times best-selling book called On the Edge. It is an amazing, incredible book. You also can find her TED Talk. If you just Google TED Talk, Allison Levine, it is amazing. She has climbed the highest peak of every continent, and she led the first women's team, the first U.S. women's team up Mount Everest. Massively accomplished, hugely successful, extremely motivating. Encourage you to check out her TED Talk. I connected with her on LinkedIn. I put, hey, Allison, so on and so forth. Kara Golden was just on my podcast. We are both huge fans of yours. Would you be interested in being on our webinar? Sure enough, she came back and accepted our invitation. She's going to come on in July. Guys, if you guys are available on July 23rd, you don't want to miss this. She is just a ball of inspiration. And again, these relationships, these connections are solely, purely thanks to LinkedIn. Okay. So now I want to talk to you about a content strategy. I know you hear content. So if you are on, I don't care what platform you're on, you're like, should I be blogging? Should I be posting videos? Should I be posting posts? What social media platform should I be on? Again, when you go through that process of understanding who is your ideal buyer, that helps you tremendously on what platforms to be on and what message to deliver. Okay. So again, just for a shameless plug, I have the Anderson family best-selling book, Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. So I have a bunch of content that I put out. Well, to build out that book, I was putting out a lot of blog posts. So I just want to share with you, if you're like, man, should I do a blog? It's scary. You know, you got to hit that submit button. Are people going to read it? Are people going to mock it? So let me just show you an example. So I put, and I could show a number of examples, but here's one. Curt, I noticed your captain your ship post. I thought it'd be interesting to see what types of companies you typically work with, So this gentleman reaches out to me just on a cold call and just purely based on a blog post that he had read. He comes back. He was hands down my best connection of the year. He is my partner, my co-host on our webinar series. We do LinkedIn Live twice a week. And you take a look here, and I don't know, Jenna, what you think, but that looks like Voldemort or maybe Dr. Evil. Like, look at that picture of me, like kind of creepy, you know, kind of coming at you. See that? So anyway, but this is LinkedIn Live. We do a LinkedIn Live twice a week. And again, we're driving our business. We're making connections, all thanks to LinkedIn. We also have created together simply by him reaching out to Damon is his name, by him reaching out to me. We've put together a team where we have an e-commerce cooperative, where we have a team of high level, high integrity, internet digital marketing experts for e-commerce, and we're all helping manufacturers. And what the goal is that we're trying to help, like today, what the SBDC does, that what they are fantastic at is helping you on your e-commerce or on your entrepreneurial journey, and giving you the tools and the resources to do it with you, not necessarily to do it for you. And what we want to do is, how do we teach those entrepreneurs on how to fish? Okay. So let me give you another example. And this is where I get a little uncomfortable. Tomorrow, when we do our e-commerce program, I can do case studies. I'm going to show you examples of companies. When it's LinkedIn, I have to show you my profile because it's mine, you know. So I get a little uncomfortable because I don't want it to come across like, oh, Curt, you know, cool for you. But when you're on LinkedIn and you're doing individual social media, that's what you have to do. But I just want to show you a little snowball effect on how putting out that content and just blogging and just being consistent with that delivery on what can happen. So a little over a year ago, when COVID started, I received this note and I'm like, man, this seems spammy, and I almost deleted it. So somebody drops me a note and it says, hey, Curt, hope you're well. My name is so-and-so. I work for Alibaba. I'm like, Alibaba, man, it's like one of the biggest companies on the planet. It's a Chinese marketplace, so on and so forth. With your expertise, I'm like, okay, they're trying to sell me something. So I sat on this for a couple of days, and then I came back to it. I'm like, what is this? So I come down to this third paragraph, and this gentleman writes, I know you consult and write on these topics, so I thought you might be interested in connecting with the folks at Alibaba and give some of your insights. So I'm like, what do I get to lose? I'll reach back to them. Well, sure enough, they invited me to do a webinar. This was my first webinar that I did last year during COVID in 2020. And it was in May, and we put out this webinar, went over great. All of a sudden, this gentleman reaches out to me from that webinar. And this is a gentleman, his name is Jeffrey Stern. Jenna, did you ever own a Build-A-Bear when you were a child growing up? Anybody out there, raise your hand. Did you guys have a Build-A-Bear? Well, if that Build-A-Bear ever spoke to you, this gentleman provides every single little recording device. Matter of fact, I have a bunch of them down here next to me somewhere. He manufactures that little recording device that goes in every single Build-A-Bear it has since Build-A-Bear started. He caught the webinar that I did for Alibaba, reached out to me. We have created an amazing, dynamic, wonderful relationship. I am so blessed to work with this gentleman. His company is called Voice Express. And again, he does these little recording devices. Alibaba then comes back to me after that and says, hey, Curt, we're going to do another program, and it's with the president of Alibaba. We'd like you to be on the panel discussion. I'm like, I'm going to be on the panel with Jenna. I'm hanging out in my basement, guys. Like, what am I going to do with the president of Alibaba? So I was on a panel discussion. It was awesome. It was an honor. It was a thrill. They come back to me and they're like, hey, the president of Alibaba is writing an article in Forbes. We want to quote you in this article in Forbes. I'm like, my goodness, are you kidding me? I'm like, I finally get to tell mom I made it into Forbes. Next, they're like, Curt, we need you again. We're going to do this, build out this e-commerce webinar series. We need your help. It's going to be you and the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce and the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Could you help us? Absolutely. That's what we do. I have this great network of webinar folks that would deliver high value content. We put out this. We came back. Another agency in Illinois reached out to us. I don't mean to bore you to death, but the point is, let me go back. Putting out that little blog post started here and created this whole snowball effect. And it's just been rolling since. So what my point is to you, again, not about me, Curt, that's great what you did. It's all about you. What I encourage you, invite you, welcome you to think about is how can we plant those seeds? How can we nurture those relationships? How can we put ourselves out there? Sometimes we're going to go up to the plate, we're going to strike out. But how can you put yourself out there to help accomplish your goals and reach success? All right, so we're going to take it home. Round and third base. What I welcome and encourage you to think about is how, when you come into a call, again, you don't want to be that annoying salesperson. How can you help people move the needle? How can you come into that call and just be relentlessly helping them? And the more that you're going to help them, the more that they're going to help you. What I have found is works extremely well is every call, you get those calls. Hey, can we get a virtual cup of coffee? Maybe now we'll be getting back in person for a cup of coffee. What I encourage you to do some homework before you get on that call. Check out their profile, see where they went to college, see where they worked, see if you have any mutual connections. See, and when you come into that phone call with that person, come in and help and see how you can help them. So for example, I love doing introductions. I do these weekly. So for example, here's two gentlemen, Sean and Steve. Sean, as we discussed, Steve works here. He'd be a great connection for you. Steve, Sean's an attorney. He works here. Since you guys are neighbors, there seems like an opportunity for lots of collaboration. I love making those mutual connections because when you come in and people view you as someone of integrity and you care about them, they're going to help you. So again, for social proof, and again, I get uncomfortable showing this, but I'm just going to share this with you anyway. This is a buddy of mine. He put this out unexpected, unsolicited. This is a post that he put on LinkedIn. You know, when you meet someone, I ask if there are 3 things I can help them, I can help do for them. When you meet Curt, he asks you if he can introduce you to 137 people. I kid you not, this guy not only knows everyone, he makes it a point to connect if he thinks he can help. He's one of the best guys paying it forward. To all you salespeople, when you do this with a relentless passion, someone like myself will be so impressed who want to introduce you to the network like this. So, you know what, and I'm sharing this with you again, not trying to make it about me. It's like, I take this very, I kind of goof around a lot, but I take this very seriously and I work relentlessly on trying to help others. And it's great when someone makes that comment. But again, it's just like working for the SBDC is just such a rewarding, amazing place because they're there to help you. And that's what we're here for today. So again, guys, on your LinkedIn profile, treat it like going to the gym. It's like that gym membership, or like, man, I'm not seeing any results. When have you been to the gym? I haven't been in a month. Well, you got to get in the gym, right? That treadmill that sits there collecting clothes. You have to treat your LinkedIn profile like that gym membership. So what I encourage you to do, Get involved on LinkedIn. Put a like on a comment. Find those conversations that you deliver value. Drop a like, share a thoughtful comment, your experience, your expertise. Put a joke in there. People love to laugh, man. We don't have to be serious all the time, right? Put those out there. Build that trust. Be consistent. Do things with integrity. Be reliable. These are great ways to build your business on LinkedIn. Here's my little tip or pack for the week, and we'll close it out on this. Put in an hour a week. If you're not moving the needle and not moving, and I talk about this with my clients all the time. They're like, man, Curt, I can't put another thing on my plate. Are you hitting your goals? No. Well, unfortunately, I call them profit killers or time wasters. Something is on our plate preventing us from hitting our goals. We need to remove something to put something on it more productive. What I encourage you to do, if you're eager, you're in a professional space, product space, and you feel that B2B in LinkedIn is a place to be, put in an hour a week, maybe 10 minutes a day here and there, 15 minutes when you can. Make 5 or 10 connections a week. Boy, that adds up. That could be 100 people a month. Start posting once in a while, add comments to other people's posts. Again, we want to make that great first impression. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about making that great web impression wow factor. Are you speaking the right language to the right buyer? Be clear and concise with the problem you solve in that call to action. Make sure you avoid that wee syndrome. Make it all about them. So guys, I hope everyone here is ready to get out and crush it on LinkedIn. I'm not going anywhere. I would cherish any questions that you have. Guys, if you need to wrap up, I know we're coming in on time. I thank you for your time. Go out there and crush your dreams. Be liberators of awesome, because you have greatness in you. So guys, again, thank you to the team at the Youngstown State Small Business Development Center. Reach out to Craig and to Jenna. Jenna, one more time, just for old Curt, will you? OH. That girl, give me an IO. So guys, again, so join us tomorrow. Here's my email, Curt@B2Btail. If you got any of my trivia questions, shoot me an email. I'll send you a free copy of my book. How's that? Curt@B2Btail.com. If you enjoyed this, drop me a note. I'll send you a free copy of my book. Comes from Amazon. And again, tomorrow we have our e-commerce workshop. So guys, if you have any questions, please, I'm sticking around. I'd be happy to answer anything that you have.
Thank you very much, Curt. Excellent presentation. Jenna, is there any other questions right now for Curt in the Q&A?
Yeah, so in the Q&A right now, we have, what are your recommendations for building enough confidence to message people on LinkedIn from the point of view of a younger person who might not be well-seasoned entrepreneur?
That's an awesome question, man. I love that question. And Jenna, you're fresh out of college. How about a little round of applause for Jenna? She just landed her first gig out of college. Am I correct, Jenna? Right? At the Small Business Development Center. Yes. So what a great success story Jenna is. She went from intern to now she's hired full-time on the team. So God bless you, Jenna. Congratulations. So for young folks, I love this question. I'll tell you why. So when I was at the SBDC, Small Business Development Centers, again, little plug, if you're not familiar, they're always parked at a college or a university. When I was at the SBDC many years ago, I was blessed and honored. I had a social media intern program that I worked with a college professor that was on campus. And all the students and we were working with manufacturers. We were putting interns in manufacturers, trying to help them with digital marketing. And all the students, this was like 2014, 15, they were like, oh, LinkedIn's for old people. We don't like LinkedIn. And, we're on, whatever the flavor was back then, it was like Twitter. I think Snapchat was brand new at the time, Instagram. And what I absolutely love, by the end of the semester, consistently, students would come up to me and they're like, I hate to admit this, but you are right. LinkedIn is the place to be. So what I encourage you, you are young. You are fresh. You are a little raw. Older folks like myself love rooting for the underdogs. We love rooting for young folks. Just put yourself out there. It's like that baseball example. You can't hit a home run without striking out a few times. Just put yourself out there. Put those messages out there. Be confident. And, you'll learn. I'm 52. I'm still learning every day. I'm still making horrible, dumb mistakes, still trying to mature. So it doesn't matter what age you are. I just encourage you, put yourself out there, show your expertise, do things with integrity, be consistent, and just put those value messages out there. Here's a great thing to do. If you're on, somebody has a chat going on, find a nice article in a magazine that relates to that topic. Say, hey, Craig, awesome post, man. I love what you just said. That reminds me of this article I just read in Fortune magazine. Check this out. You know, now I'm trying to build a rapport with Craig. I'm complimenting his work, complimenting his post. I've showed that I'm doing some my own due diligence, and I'm adding value to his post by grabbing an article and putting it in there. But I encourage you, invite you, put yourself out there and just be relentless on LinkedIn. And I wish you massive success. I hope hopefully that answered or helped.
Yep. And then another question we have, so for someone new to LinkedIn, what would you recommend to be the most important feature on our profile to make connections with like-minded individuals?
Awesome question. I would love to, I don't know if they want to chime in or add to the chat. You know, I guess if we geeked out or went a little further, like what they did, let's say, if you're a professional, what would I do just starting out? Okay. So that's the question. Let me just use, and whoever shared that first, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time to share a question. I appreciate that. Always love questions. Let's just say if you were in accounting, or maybe you're doing something out of your home, selling some products, widgets. Again, what we want to do is be very clear and concise with that product and service that you provide. Let me give you a quick example. And this is why I love and why I think it's so critical, that buyer persona. Okay. I had a company manufacturer, ironically, or not ironically, out of Malaysia contact me one time. And we were talking and we went through this whole conversation. I'm like, all right, well, tell me about your business. And he went through this whole thing. Who's your ideal buyer? And it was like dirt track racing, you know, motocross. And I don't know what you guys think. I'm thinking down and dirty, muddy, you know, I'm thinking hardcore motocross, right? So I'm like, all right, let's take a look at your website. I pull up the website, and on the cover of the website was like a Lamborghini. And I'm like, I apologize, man. Like, if I understood you correctly, we just spent half an hour talking about motocross, down and dirty, you know, so on and so forth. And you have a Lamborghini, and like, there's a total disconnect with who your persona is. Like, you're speaking the wrong language to a different, like and I see it, unfortunately, over and over and over. So my first piece of advice to you is really dig deep and get a clear understanding of who that ideal buyer, who that word I'm using today, that soulmate is. Okay. Now that we understand that person, and think about your top buyer. Think about, I'm a baseball fan, so think about like maybe the person that's, if anybody out there likes baseball, who hits your singles, who are the doubles, who are the triples, who are your home runs. Those could even be 4 personas. But think about maybe your single, and that person has a problem. And where do they love you? The problem that you solve. They're like, man, Mr. or Mrs. Entrepreneur, thank you that you exist, because you make the best cookies, or you deliver the best accounting services or cleaning services, or whatever it is that you do. And they are just so appreciative. How do we replicate and duplicate that? And how do we speak to them? And again, make it all about them. Let's not make it all about us. Another tip for those sticking around, I'm not a fan when people speak about themselves in the third person on LinkedIn, because it's our profile. Unless you hired somebody to create your own LinkedIn profile, it's us, it's me, right? It's Curt, it's Jenna. I encourage you, speak in the first person, but again, let's make it about them, how I'm going to help you. I provide the best, you're going to receive the best cleaning services. You're going to receive the best wedding planning services, or again, whatever the product and problem that you solve. Let's make it all about them. Understand your customer. Let's speak to them clearly and concisely. And guys, and another thing to think about, and I'll wrap up on this for that question. Sometimes we get so intimidated, like digital. If you were standing face to face, if we were at a restaurant, or we met at a chamber event or an SBDC event, we were in public, you would have no problem speaking about what you do, right? Take that same language and put it on your LinkedIn profile, right? Just do things with sincerity, honesty, integrity, and you're going to do amazing.
Okay, and I think we have time for one more question. So we have in here, it says, how can I use LinkedIn to target a company that I found to be a great prospect?
Awesome question. God, these are great questions, man. And please, LinkedIn, let's connect on LinkedIn. Feel free to ask me questions. Drop me a note if you have if anything I didn't cover. I know we crammed a lot in 1 hour. Okay, there's a company. So now, first off, my question would be, okay, is it a small company? Are we targeting like a 5-person, 10-person? Is it a Fortune 500 with 10,000 employees? But we'll just run through an exercise here. What I would do is I'm going to go to that company. If it's a smaller company, I'm immediately going to start connecting with anybody within that company that's active on LinkedIn. Okay. If it's a massive company, Fortune 500 company where they have thousands of employees, I want to try to narrow it down. So typically you provide a product or service that isn't for the entire company, it's for a small division. So if it's a major company, start working your way down, and there's filters within LinkedIn that I can use, but I want to narrow it down. So say if you provide HR services, obviously, or payroll services, obviously I want to try to work my way into somebody in the HR department. If I provide things for, manufacturing, like I'm an e-commerce guy, I'm going to try to target their sales or marketing. If you provide things for operational lean, flow of products, I'm going to try to find their procurement or, so again, resonate or connect with the folks in that department. What I want to do is I want to start putting out a connection, not salesy. Hey, how are you? Fantastic profile. Man, Craig, you've built an amazing career, dude. Well done. It'd be an honor to join your LinkedIn network. Wishing you continued success. I'm hoping that you accept it. You accept it. Maybe I see an article that I want to share with you. Maybe I see a post that I want to share with you. Maybe some type of value message. Now, what I also want to do is find people in that company that are active on LinkedIn. And those people, when they're posting, that is the easiest, best way to build your network, is by engaging in other posts or conversations. Drop yourself into those conversations. And again, let's convert digital into real world situations. If we're at a chamber event, we're at an SBDC event, we're at a live networking event, and you find yourself in a conversation and it's something that's in your wheelhouse, man, you're going to chime right in. Let's do the exact same thing on LinkedIn. Don't be afraid to show your expertise. You've earned it. You deserve it. Let's get in there and then let's share it. So that's my, hopefully that helped, but that's my piece of advice there.
No, I think that's great. And I think now we'll probably wrap up Q&A just because of our time. You want to be considerate of time and everything, and I'll let Craig take over here.
Okay, thank you, Jenna. And Curt, we truly appreciate taking the time to help our attendees learn more about LinkedIn for Business, and also demonstrating and showing the power of a LinkedIn message, how that can convert into a long-term partnership as well as a potential sale. I'd also like to thank Jenna Binsley for designing all the digital materials, setting up these sessions, and Patricia Weiss, the director of our SBDC, for having this program available to our clients and others to attend. Thank you again for everyone attending today. Please make sure you join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. for our session on eCommerce 101, how to boost your e-commerce strategy with Curt tomorrow, again at 11 a.m. So again, Curt, thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.